Okay, so you know how we all wonder about living longer, healthier lives? Like, what's the secret?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what if I told you we're diving into a place where longevity is like built into the culture?
Sounds intriguing. Where are we headed?
This time, we're off to the Cilento region of Italy. They're famous for, well, people living a really long time.
I've heard of it. Isn't it like a blue zone or something?
Exactly. And we're going to figure out why. So, I've been digging into some fascinating stuff from the British Association for Nutrition and Lifestyle Medicine, BANT for short.
Okay, Bant. I'm familiar with them. What's their take?
They're all about nutritional therapy, using food and lifestyle changes to improve health.
Makes sense. So what are they saying about Cilento?
Not directly about Cilento, but they paint a pretty stark picture of the UK diet.
Oh, right. I know where this is going.
Over 50% of what people in the UK eat is ultra-processed food.
Yikes, that's not good. Not good at all.
And get this, they're predicting that by 2040, a whopping 25 million people in England alone could be living with a major illness.
That's a scary thought. And it really highlights what Bant is all about, doesn't it?
Totally. They're trying to help people make better food choices to avoid those outcomes.
Right, making informed choices. So let's shift gears to Cilento now.
Yeah, let's dive in. I actually found this video from Olio Gorrasi, a family-run olive oil producer in Cilento.
Olive oil, that's a staple of the Mediterranean diet, right?
Exactly. And get this, they talk about how olive trees were planted there by the Greeks like 2,500 years ago. Talk about a long history.
Wow, that's deep-rooted. So what's the link between olive oil and this longevity thing?
Well, Cilento has a really high concentration of centenarians,
Centenarians meaning.
people who live to be over 100 years old, and they're described as like the living embodiment of the Mediterranean diet.
Ah, I see. So they're like walking proof of its benefits.
Right, and it gets even more interesting. About 50 years ago, an American physiologist named Hansel Keys was researching heart health.
Hansel Keys, the Mediterranean diet guy.
The one and only. He noticed that people in Cilento had way fewer heart attacks compared to people in the US.
Interesting. That's a pretty big difference. What did he do with that observation?
He was so intrigued that he actually moved to Cilento and lived there until he was 100 himself.
Wow, talk about dedication. He must have been onto something.
Right, and the research is still going strong today. There's this new study analyzing the blood of Cilentan centenarians.
I read about that. They're trying to unlock the secrets of their longevity, and olive oil seems to be a big focus.
Yeah, it's fascinating. They're interviewing these centenarians, doing blood tests, and asking all sorts of questions about their diet.
I bet their diet is quite different from the typical Western diet.
You bet. Think small portions, tons of vegetables, their own olive oil, and very little meat.
It's a far cry from the processed food paradise we have here. It sounds so simple, almost too good to be true.
Right, but the researchers are saying it's a combination of genetics and lifestyle. And they emphasize how these centenarians have lived very similar lives, especially when it comes to food.
So it's not just about what they eat, but how they live, their whole approach to life.
Absolutely. There's this saying in Cilento, eat until you're only half full. It's about mindful eating, listening to your body.
That's a great philosophy. We could all learn a thing or two from that, I think.
For sure. And remember how we talked about all that ultra-processed food in the UK diet?
Yeah, the stark contrast.
These folks in Cilento, they ate what they grew, what was in season. Processed food was simply not part of their world.
It's almost like a time capsule of a healthier way of life.
It is. But there's a catch.
What's that?
The younger generations in Cilento are facing some of the same health challenges we see elsewhere.
Like what?
They're experiencing higher rates of obesity and type 2 diabetes.
That's concerning. Any insights into why that might be?
It seems to be linked to a more sedentary lifestyle. They're not working the land like their elders did.
That makes sense. Less physical activity, more processed food. It's a recipe for trouble.
Sadly, it is. But it makes the health of those older generations even more remarkable.
Right. It's a reminder that those traditional habits really do make a difference.
Exactly. The elderly participants in that study, they have great cholesterol, blood sugar, kidney, and liver function. No diabetes.
And they're still going strong at 100. That's amazing.
It is. There's even this woman, Nicolina, who said she's never been seriously ill in her entire life. Think about that for a second.
Wow, that's truly remarkable. It really makes you think about the long-term impact of those healthy habits.
It really does. And it's not just about the food in Cilento. There's this strong sense of community, too.
Ah, the social aspect.
Yeah.
That's often overlooked, but it's so crucial for well-being.
Totally. The elderly are really integrated and supported. It's not just about having people around, but genuine connection and a sense of purpose.
And it sounds like the healthcare system there is more personal, too. Close relationships between doctors and patients, that kind of thing.
Right. It's a more holistic approach to health. Okay, now let's talk more about olive oil.
Ah, the liquid gold of Cilento.
Exactly. Remember Olio Gorrasi, that family business we mentioned? They have this whole philosophy about real, authentic, Italian, extra virgin olive oil.
And they're producing it right there in Cilento.
Yep, from their own olive groves, which have been in the family since 1798.
Wow, that's impressive. What's so special about their process?
Well, they're really meticulous about everything. Hand-picked olives, crushed mechanically at low temperatures without any chemicals or added heat.
So they're preserving all the natural goodness. That's what extra virgin is all about, right?
Right. Then they let the oil settle and clarify naturally, no additives. And they talk about all these health benefits, from antioxidants to healthy fats, even a high smoke point.
Which is important for cooking at higher temperatures.
Right.
So their olive oil is both delicious and healthy.
Exactly. And they sell it directly to consumers, so you're getting the freshest, highest quality oil.
That's a smart move. Cuts out the middleman and ensures quality control.
Totally. And they use metal cans for packaging, which helps protect the oil from light and oxidation.
Smart. They're really going the extra mile to ensure quality.
They are. And their whole approach really echoes what Bant is saying about healthy eating. It's all about whole, unprocessed foods and healthy fats like olive oil.
It's a powerful reminder that food can be both enjoyable and beneficial.
Absolutely. So to sum up, we've learned about the amazing longevity and health in Cilento thanks to their traditional Mediterranean diet, particularly their own olive oil and fresh veggies.
We've seen how lifestyle plays a role, the contrast between generations, and the importance of community, and a more holistic approach to healthcare.
It's a lot to take in, but I think the big question is, what can we learn from this? What can we apply to our own lives?
That's the key, right? Maybe we can't all move to Cilento and live off the land. But maybe there are little things we can incorporate, like eating more fresh produce, cooking with quality olive oil, being more mindful of portions, and fostering stronger community connections. It's about finding ways to integrate those healthy habits into our modern lives.
Food for thought, right?
Absolutely.
Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. I hope you'll join us next time for another fascinating exploration. Until then, keep those questions coming and keep seeking those answers.
And remember, your health is your wealth. So invest wisely,